Hey guys, I'm NFL World UK, and this is my second video in a series covering all 32 teams in the NFL and what to expect from them in the upcoming season. So now I'm going to talk about the Dolphins today. I'm going to discuss their offense, defense and special teams, so let's waste no further time and get straight into the team that I believe will come second in the AFC East. When you look at Miami's offense, you have to start with their quarterback and first round pick from last year, Ryan Tannehill. Even though the rookie threw 13 interceptions and only 12 touchdowns, Tannehill showed a great ability to win in the fourth quarter from behind. I believe he'll have a breakout season this year, and I'm not alone in thinking this, as NFL.com have him as their number one player to watch this year. Tannehill was an interesting product coming out of college with 19 starts at the quarterback position. The Texas A&M product, however, had thrown 42 touchdowns for only 21 interceptions. More importantly, it showed an athletic ability that isn't often found in quarterbacks. This led to him being drafted with the 8th overall pick. I fully expect Tannehill to develop into a good quarterback in the NFL. I expect progression to be made this year. Lamar Miller is the second offensive player that I expect to have a breakout season for Miami in 2013. The former University of Miami product's best asset is his speed. He demonstrated this when he ran a 4.340 in the combine last year. This eventually led to him being drafted in the 4th round. Mike Wallace noted that if Miller had stayed in college for just one more year, the second-year pro might well have found himself in the first round of the 2013 NFL Draft. Miller had a good rookie season, however he was stuck in a crowded backfield behind Reggie Bush, who's now departed in free agency to Detroit. Expect Miller to win the starting job and run with it. The group of key offensive players for the Miami Dolphins was very different to how it would have done just 1 year ago. The huge reason for this are the off-season transactions, and specifically Mike Wallace. The former Pittsburgh Steeler has had 32 career touchdowns and over 4,000 receiving yards. He's shown elite speed and demonstrated the ability to terrorise DBs with his explosiveness off the line. This aligns itself with Tannehill's greatest asset, with his strong arm enabling him to throw a good deep ball. However, in my opinion, for Mike Wallace to be ever deemed a top-tier NFL talent, he needs to demonstrate the ability to run the full NFL route tree. Mike Pouncey may well be the best player on the entire Miami Dolphins offense. He was ranked by Pro Football Focus as the second best centre in the NFL last season, and when plugged in next to guards Richie Ingcognito and John Jerry, they provide a very good centre of the Dolphins' offensive line. This will become vitally important as Jonathan Martyrs make the switch from right tackle to left tackle following Jake Long's departure to the St. Louis Rams in free agency. Pouncey is very good both in pass protection and run blocking. He will need to demonstrate this if he is to make the Pro Bowl this year. Brian Hartline is a very interesting player for the Miami Dolphins. Just 1 year ago he probably wouldn't have started for many teams in the NFL, yet as the season wore on he proved himself, with over 1,000 yards receiving and 253 yards versus the Arizona Cardinals. However, he only had one touchdown all year long. This meant that Brandon Gibson was brought into the fold to primarily take over Devon Bess's role in the slot. This will hopefully mean that Hartline will experience more one-on-one matchups on the outside that he may be able to take advantage of. Dustin Keller was also signed in free agency. He was brought in to replace tight end Anthony Fasano. Keller provides a much more athletic and younger option, and hopefully Ryan Tannehill will be able to reap the rewards of this vastly improved group. The lack of experience on the offensive side of the ball for Miami Dolphins provides for some very interesting competition during camp. We start by looking at the running back spot, where Lamar Miller, Daniel Thomas and Mike Gillislee are all fighting it out for the starting spot. Lamar Miller should ultimately win the job, however Daniel Thomas possesses many attributes that neither of the other two do. At 6'1", 233 pounds, he is able to run the ball straight up the middle of opposing defences and grind them down, opening up the passing game in the fourth quarter. Mike Gillislee is a 5th round pick this year out of Florida, expecting to be the true third back in a very few touches in the regular season. Lamar Miller had a good rookie year rushing for 250 yards, however Daniel Thomas in his rookie year at 581. I still expect Lamar Miller to come out on top in this battle due to the system fit, however I expect Thomas to equally get a lot of carries and a good complementary back. Competition for the 4th wide receiver spot in Miami is heating up. Reshad Matthews is most likely to win the job, however he'll need to stay healthy, which has been a problem for him of late. Julius Pruitt, the Ouachita Baptist product, in his 4th training camp with Miami, hoping to make the team for the first time. He has to improve on special teams in order to stick. Going into his final year at Texas A&M, Jeff Fuller was deemed by Pro Football Talk as one of the top tier wide receivers in the entire nation. After a disastrous senior season, he went undrafted and failed to make the Dolphins 53 last year. He is no better than an outside chance at sticking this time around. Chad Bumford's had a good training camp so far and excelled in the Hall of Fame game. He had 5 grabs for 85 yards, and he also has an outside shot at securing that 4th wide receiver spot and landing with the Dolphins. Defense is the main area of strength for the Miami Dolphins, especially within the front 7, and it is here that I start with my breakout player for 2013, defensive end Olivier Vernon. He was selected in the 3rd round 1 year ago from the University of Miami. Mike Mayock noted that much like Lamar Miller, if he stayed in college for 1 more year, he might well have been either a 1st or 2nd round pick. I believe Vernon will be able to take advantage of his one-on-one matchups that he sees due to the strength of that defensive line, and he will improve upon his 3.5 sacks from 1 year ago. According to Pro Football Focus, Reshad Jones was a top 5 safety last year, so many people will be asking why I have him as a breakout player. That's because he was snubbed from the Pro Bowl and failed to be recognised on a league-wide basis. At 6'1", 214 pounds with a 4.5 140, Jones is a prototypical safety both down in the box and in pass coverage. I expect him to be a real playmaker on the Dolphins defense and having a career year leading to his first Pro Bowl selection. When talking about the Miami Dolphins' top defensive players, you have to revert back to that front 7 and specifically Cam Wade. The former Canadian Football League player for the BC Lions has had a very successful NFL career since coming over to the Dolphins in 2009. He was number 89 on the top 100 players list for the 2013 NFL season. I believe that was far too low, as he had 15 sacks last year and terrorised opposing quarterbacks throughout the course of the season. Cameron Wade may well be one of the top 3 sack artists in the entire NFL. Just as important as Cam Wade is the interior of the Dolphins' defensive line. The 3-man rotation featuring Paul Soliai, the 345-pound defensive tackle, whose career stats are not flattering. However, anyone who watches the Dolphins realises how important he is to their success against the run. Jared Odrick is a more flashy player, and the former first-round pick from 2010 has demonstrated the ability to get to the quarterback with 5 sacks last year. Randy Starks has proven himself as a top-tier defensive tackle and defensive end in this league. He's played well in both a 3-4 and a 4-3 and is truly one of the leaders in his position. Donnell Ellerbe was a main man that they brought in through free agency. He signed a $35 million contract that lasts 5 years. He was key for the Ravens in the postseason last year that led to them winning the Super Bowl. The Dolphins were hoping can emulate that over the coming years. The Miami Dolphins cornerback situation is an enigma. The team is based around a core of young players. However, at the cornerback position, this is not really the case. The number 1 corner is Brent Grimes, who signed a 1-year, $5.5 million contract in free agency. However, at the age of 30, the former Hamburg Sea Devil, clearly in the eyes of the front office, does not have too large a role in the future. Dimitri Patton is the front runner to start opposite Brent Grimes for the Dolphins this coming season. However, he is with a 6th team since he joined the league back in 2005 as an undrafted free agent. I hold out very little hope that he can be the answer for Miami on the outside. Richard Marshall will be returning to nickel duties this season. Having played last year when healthy on the outside, he is clearly a lot more comfortable covering the slot there. I believe if healthy, he will prove himself to be one of the best in the entire league at this role. Jamar Taylor out of Boise State and Will Davis out of Utah State are 2 rookie corners that were drafted this year in order to try and inject some youth into the group. I expect them to be big in the future, but how much playing time they get this year will depend upon how well they perform during the preseason. The Miami Dolphins special teams is coached by Darren Rizzi and led by return man Marcus Thigpen. They bolster one of the best groups in the entire league. Incumbent kicker Dan Carpenter finds himself in a struggle to retain his roster spot, having missed several key kicks at the back end of last year. However, with a career percentage of 82 and having proven himself prior to 2012 as a very reliable kicker, I foresee him beating out rookie Caleb Sturgis when all is said and done. The final area that I'm going to discuss is the coaching staff of the Miami Dolphins. This has to begin with Joe Philbin, the head coach, who was brought in 1 year ago following the disastrous Tony Sparano era. The former offensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers brought in the ex-head coach of Texas A&M, Mike Sherman, and along with defensive coordinator Kevin Coyle, these 3 have helped turn this squad around from one of the worst in the league to one of the more respectable units, both in terms of offense and defense. So my prediction for Miami Dolphins in 2013 is a very respectable 9-7. With a 9-7 record, I'm unsure whether the Dolphins will be able to make the postseason. I believe they will come second in the AFC East behind the New England Patriots. For my next video, I'll discuss the Buffalo Bills. I'm NFL World UK, and that's all I have to talk about in this edition of NFL season previews featuring the Miami Dolphins. I'd like to subscribe, check out my Tumblr, and follow me on Twitter. All the information for this can be found in the description or on my channel. Thank you very much for listening.